Who are you?
I'm him.
Who are you?
I'm him. My time.
So Justin Tipping's him is finally here, and wow, what a nightmare vision of sports culture. This isn't your average underdog football story where the scrappy kid makes the team. No, this is a bloody, surreal, and terrifying look at what happens when America's cult-like obsession with greatness and the GOAT myth is pushed to its absolute limits. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. At first glance, him feels like a sports drama with a horror twist. But once you dive in, it's layered with biting commentary about the commodification of athletes, the sacrifices demanded by ambition, and the twisted ways power keeps cycling through the system. The ending is wild, bloody, and leaves you questioning who the real GOAT is, Cam or Isaiah. Let's break it all down, step by step.
Do I look at you or the camera?
You'll just look right at me. You'll just ignore
The setup. Who is Cam? The story centers on Cam, a once promising quarterback whose dreams of glory came crashing down when he was brutally attacked. Someone smashed his head with a hammer, leaving him with concussion-related hallucinations and self-doubt. His body might heal, but his mind is fractured. But when his football idol, Isaiah, the living legend of the San Antonio Saviors, invites Cam to his desert compound, it feels like destiny. Imagine being handpicked by your hero to train under them. Sounds like a dream, right? Except here that dream quickly becomes a nightmare. Isaiah doesn't just push Cam with brutal workouts, fasting, and bizarre injections. He literally transfuses his own blood into him. And he doesn't just say, to be the best, you've got to outwork everyone. He means, to be the best, you've got to literally consume and replace the guy before you. Isaiah sets the tone. Greatness isn't about playing the game. It's about sacrifice, ritual, and blood.
The ball around a little.
Isaiah's twisted philosophy. Isaiah isn't just a mentor. He's more like a cult leader. His philosophy boils down to one terrifying idea. To become the GOAT, you don't just surpass your idol, you destroy them, body and soul. For him, greatness is an endless cycle where the chosen one must take the throne by force, through violence. He's part of a long, horrifying tradition of quarterbacks fighting to the death to inherit the title. When Isaiah trains with Cam, he doesn't just learn footwork and throws. He's indoctrinated. He's injected. He's fed Isaiah's blood. This isn't mentorship. It's possession. Isaiah is preparing Cam to replace him, not just in the game, but in the mythology of the sport itself. And yet, Isaiah clearly doesn't want to give it up. He talks about watching old tapes, not of games, but of crowds cheering his name, celebrating his greatness. He feeds off that validation like a vampire. For him, being the GOAT isn't about legacy. It's about never letting the applause stop.
Enjoy it.
Get your shit together!
The bloody showdown. Cam versus Isaiah. By the time we get to the climax, Cam has a choice. Walk away or fight Isaiah to the death. And Isaiah makes it clear. There's no walking away. If Cam wants his dream, he has to take it violently. The fight is brutal, primal, and fueled by everything Cam's been through. He ends up bludgeoning Isaiah to death with a football helmet, an image that twists the symbol of the sport into a weapon of murder. It's shocking, but also the logical endpoint of Isaiah's philosophy. Greatness only comes through bloodshed. Isaiah smiles as he dies, almost proud that Cam followed through, because for Isaiah, that's the way it's always supposed to be. He's the lamb sacrificed, so the lion can rise.
You want to play at your highest level? You want to be a legend?
The ritual. Who really runs the game? But the story doesn't end there, because once Isaiah is gone, Cam steps onto a football field and is greeted with something straight out of a horror fever dream. His agent, Isaiah's wife, the team owner, and a full marching band in cult-like costumes, some even wearing pigskin masks. They're ready to celebrate. They're ready to sign him. And then comes the real gut punch. Everything that happened to Cam, every step of his journey was planned. The owner reveals that Cam was being groomed for this moment from the start. His father had worked with the team's elites to shape his son into the perfect quarterback. The hammer attack that nearly killed him, orchestrated. The isolation that made him desperate enough to join Isaiah's compound, engineered. Cam wasn't just chasing greatness. He was trapped in a system designed to chew him up and spit him out as a commodity. And now, he's expected to step into Isaiah's shoes and play his part in the endless cycle.
Cam, Are you okay?
I think something's off.
Do you want to know what you...
Cam's father's shadow. This revelation hits even harder when Cam's father is brought into the picture. Early in the film, we learn Cam's dad was a lifelong fan of the Saviors, pushing his son to be the GOAT. Cam always felt torn between wanting to make his father proud and the crushing pressure of those expectations. But in the finale, we find out the truth. His father literally made a deal with the owners to mold Cam into the chosen one. Even the hammer attack connects back to this conspiracy. For Cam, it's devastating. His lifelong pursuit of greatness, his sacrifices, his pain, it was never really his choice. It was his father's obsession, passed down like a curse.
Now we playing some football!
Don't have to do this.
The cult of sports. Metaphor made flesh. What makes him so disturbing is how it takes real-world critiques of sports culture and cranks them up to horror movie extremes. The cultish imagery of the owners and executives in pigskin masks isn't just creepy, it's symbolic. They're the real villains, the ones who profit from the blood, sweat, and broken bodies of athletes like Isaiah and Cam. They treat players as commodities, calling Cam boy in a way that drips with racial undertones. They thrive off the cycle of grooming, exploiting, and discarding talent, all while dressing it up as tradition and legacy. Isaiah may be terrifying, but at least he believes in greatness. The owners believe only in profit. In him, they're the true demons.
I've never been more certain of anything in my life.
The hammer returns, Cam's final choice. At this point, Cam could accept his destiny and step into Isaiah's role, but instead, he chooses defiance. He grabs the very same hammer that was once used to shatter his career and uses it to unleash hell. In a shocking, cathartic bloodbath, he murders the owners, his agent, and anyone else complicit in the conspiracy. The marching band plays on as fighter jets soar overhead, filling the sky with red, white, and blue smoke. America's obsession with spectacle and patriotism, painted in violent, ironic colors. Cam doesn't walk away as the new GOAT. He walks away as his own man. Covered in blood, yes, but free from the system that tried to own him.
Self. Care to elaborate?
I want to be the GOAT.
Why Cam rejects the throne. Cam's refusal is what makes the ending so powerful. Isaiah embraced the system. He let himself be consumed by it because the applause and the title mattered more than his humanity. Cam, on the other hand, clings to something Isaiah lost, his sense of self. He loves football, but he loves his family and his identity more. He's willing to fight, but he's not willing to be owned. By rejecting the offer and slaughtering the cabal, Cam refuses to be commodified. He won't be their GOAT. He won't be their puppet. He becomes something else entirely, someone who defines his own greatness.
Let me tell you something. This ain't a game.
Who's the real GOAT in him? So who's the GOAT in him? On the surface, it seems like Cam earns that title by defeating Isaiah, but the real message is more complicated. The system wanted Cam to become the GOAT, because that meant becoming another cog in their cycle of exploitation. Isaiah was the GOAT before him, and he sacrificed everything for that title, only to end up upon himself. Cam becomes the GOAT not because he follows the ritual, but because he breaks it. He refuses the throne, refuses the cycle, and rewrites the story. That act of defiance is what makes him truly great.
What are you willing to sacrifice?
The bigger picture, what him is really saying. Beneath the horror, blood, and football metaphors, him is more than just about one man's fight for freedom. It's about how society builds up idols only to destroy them. It's about the dark side of ambition and the human cost of chasing greatness. It's also about race, power, and the commodification of athletes. The way Cam is manipulated from childhood mirrors how so many young athletes are pushed into careers they may not fully choose, all for the profit of those at the top. The pigskin masks, the cult rituals, the blood sacrifices, it's satire, but it's also truth, exaggerated just enough to make the horror hit home. And in the end, him asks us to rethink what being the GOAT even means. Is it about stats, wins, and titles? Or is it about staying true to yourself when the world is trying to own you?
What am I willing to sacrifice?
Our nerdy thoughts. Him isn't just a horror movie. It's a brutal deconstruction of the sports mythos, a film that takes the idea of being him and twists it into a nightmare. Isaiah represents the allure and the trap of greatness, an idol who let himself be consumed by his role. The owners represent the system that profits off that sacrifice. And Cam represents the chance to break free, to say no, to refuse the cycle. The ending may be bloody, chaotic, and shocking, but it's also strangely empowering, because in rejecting the system, Cam becomes something greater than the GOAT. He becomes his own man.
That man's smile about to be on the floor. This is how you do your teammate?